Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a like up. The bold and the beautiful spoilers reveal that Carter Walton has recently revealed to Hope Logan that he believes she needs to do a collaboration with Brooke's bedroom for Hope for the future. Carter even went as far as to admit he had been imagining Hope in lingerie. Should this be a huge red and a big concern for Hope? The bold and the beautiful spoiler reveal that Hope had dated Thomas Forrester, Matthew Atkinson, for months before they broke up, and he moved to Paris. Carter had also been dating Katie Logan. Suddenly, Carter is talking about imagining Hope in lingerie, and that seems a bit strange. Why would Carter suddenly be thinking of Hope in a sexual manner? Carter's sudden interest in Hope is starting to seem rather creepy, especially since he has been dating her aunt. Could Carter's interest turn into an obsession since Hope reminded him that office romances don't work? Could Carter even begin to stalk Hope since she turned down his advances? Carter is well aware of the issues that Hope is having with Steffi Forrester, Jacqueline McKinswood. Perhaps Carter believes that if Hope can fall for John Finnegan, then she would date anyone else who asks. Carter certainly hasn't been very lucky in love, so perhaps he thinks he and Hope are kindred spirits. Could Carter grow jealous if he sees Hope and Finn interacting? After all, Finn is married and he isn't. Why can Hope not give him a chance instead of lusting after a married man? Could Carter's frustration lead him to do something he normally wouldn't even consider? Will Carter become obsessed with getting a date with Hope? Carter is not known for using the best judgment most of the time. After all, Carter had an affair with Eric Forrester's John McCook, wife behind his back, and almost lost his job. What is there to stop Carter from pursuing Hope, even if she doesn't want him to? Will Carter listen to Hope and take no for an answer or not? Will Carter continue to go after Hope and try to get her to go out with him? Could an office romance between these two finally pay off? Hope certainly needs to stay away from Finn if she wants to keep her clothing line, but is she attracted to Carter? Could Hope and Carter make it as a couple, or are they better off alone? The Bold and the Beautiful had always been a show where emotions ran high and betrayals lingered just beneath the surface. Hope Logan, known for her grace, charm, and dedication to her family, had never expected her life to spiral in such a strange and dark direction. Her days were filled with balancing her work at Forrester Creations, co-parenting with Liam, and trying to rebuild her sense of normalcy. But there was a shadow she hadn't noticed, one that was slowly creeping closer. A shadow in the form of Carter Walton. Carter had always been a reliable man at Forrester Creations. A trusted lawyer and close friend to the Forrester family, he carried an air of professionalism that earned him respect. He had been through his share of romantic entanglements and heartbreak, most recently with Quinn Fuller. And while he had tried to move on, something inside him had shifted. It started innocently enough. Carter would occasionally pass by Hope's office, offering friendly smiles and casual conversation. She appreciated his presence. After all, he was someone she had known for years. He had always seemed calm, collected, and harmless. But as time went on, something felt off. His visits became more frequent, his compliments a bit too personal, and his gaze lingered a second too long. Hope, though slightly uncomfortable, brushed it off. She had enough on her plate, dealing with her complicated feelings for Thomas and the ever-present tension between her and Liam. The last thing she needed was to overthink a few friendly gestures. But Carter's fascination with her was no longer innocent. What had begun as admiration had grown into something darker, a fixation that consumed his thoughts day and night. One late evening, after most of the Forrester team had left, Hope stayed behind to work on a new lingerie line she was designing for the Hope for the Future collection. She was engrossed in her sketches when she heard a knock on her door. Startled, she looked up to find Carter standing in the doorway. "Carter? What are you doing here so late?" Hope asked, surprised. "I could ask you the same thing," Carter replied with a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. "I saw your light on and thought I'd see if you needed any help." Hope hesitated. It was late, and she didn't want to be rude, but something about his presence in that moment felt wrong. Still, she forced a polite smile and gestured to the desk. "Thanks, but I'm just finishing up some sketches for the new lingerie line." Carter's eyes darkened slightly at the mention of lingerie. He walked into the room, his steps slow and deliberate, as he examined the designs spread across the table. "These are beautiful, Hope," he said, his voice low. "But then again, you always create such captivating things." There was something about the way he said it, something unsettling. Hope shifted in her seat, feeling her heart race. She tried to laugh it off, though the nervousness in her voice was palpable. "Well, it's what I love to do." Carter's eyes never left her as he circled the desk, moving closer. "I've always admired your passion, Hope. You're such a strong, beautiful woman. It's inspiring." Hope stood up abruptly, her instinct telling her it was time to leave. "Thanks, Carter. I really should get going, though. It's getting late." But Carter didn't move. His eyes were fixated on her, and for the first time, she saw something predatory behind his usual charm. "You know, you deserve better than what you've been given, Hope," he said, his tone shifting to something more intimate, more intense. "Liam doesn't appreciate you the way he should. Thomas, well, he's dangerous in his own way. But me? I see you, really see you." Hope's throat tightened as she forced a step back. "Carter, I think you should go. This isn't appropriate." Carter's face twisted, the calm facade cracking for just a moment. "I'm sorry if I've made you uncomfortable," he said, his voice still too soft, too calculated. "I just want you to know that I'm here for you, always." Without another word, he left, but the weight of his presence lingered long after the door closed behind him. Over the next few days, Hope couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong. Carter's behavior had gone from mildly unsettling to outright disturbing. She began noticing small things, flowers left at her office door without a note, messages from an unknown number that simply read, "I'm thinking of you." At first, she thought she was being paranoid, but soon the evidence became impossible to ignore. The final straw came when she arrived at her home late one evening to find an envelope slipped under her front door. Inside was a single photograph, her lingerie designs from that night at the office, but with one crucial difference. The woman in the sketch wasn't just a model anymore. The face had been replaced with her own. Hope's hands trembled as she stared at the picture, bile rising in her throat. She knew now that Carter's obsession had reached a dangerous level. This wasn't just admiration, it was stalking, and it was escalating. She immediately called Liam, who rushed over, his face pale with concern as he held the photograph in his hands. "Hope, this is sick. We have to go to the police." But even as they discussed their next steps, Hope couldn't shake the feeling of Carter's eyes on her, watching, waiting. The man she had once trusted, the man who had been a pillar of professionalism at Forrester, had become her worst nightmare. Days turned into weeks, and despite her efforts to distance herself from Carter, his presence seemed to loom larger in her life. At work, he was everywhere, always watching, always just out of reach. It was as if he had orchestrated a silent, sinister game, and she was trapped in the center of it. She confided in Brooke and Ridge, both of whom were horrified by Carter's behavior. Ridge immediately confronted Carter, but Carter, ever the smooth talker, denied everything. He claimed it was all a misunderstanding, a misinterpretation of his intentions. He apologized profusely to Ridge, insisting that he would never harm Hope. But Hope knew better. She had seen the real Carter, the one behind the mask. As the tension mounted, Hope made the difficult decision to take legal action. With the support of Liam and the Forresters, she filed a restraining order against Carter. But even that did little to ease her fear. Carter was clever, and his obsession had grown too deep to be stopped by a mere piece of paper. Late one night, as Hope sat alone in her living room, her phone buzzed with a new message. She hesitated before opening it, her heart pounding in her chest. The message was simple, chilling. "I'm closer than you think." The shadows in her home seemed to close in around her, and for the first time, Hope realized that she might never truly be free from Carter's twisted fantasy. The once beautiful world of Forrester Creations had become a dark and dangerous place for Hope, and as she stared out into the night, she wondered how far Carter would go to make his fantasy a reality.